What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to some Americans who clearly have no idea how the world works. So today, I want to take a look at some examples from the internet of a problem that a lot of Americans have. Many Americans assume that the rest of the world is exactly like us, or that the United States is like the only country that matters. So today, I want to take a look at some examples of this and call it out for what it is. Dumb. Stupid. So let's take a look here, starting with an American who said, the correct term is African American, not black. No. No. Oh my. So someone responded and said, I don't think the people in the picture are American. And saying black isn't politically incorrect, as far as I know. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Oh my God. I see what's going on here. Here in the so they're looking at some kind of picture, and I guess there's some black people in the picture, and an American, commented on the picture saying, don't call them black, call them African American. As if every dark-skinned person or black person is from America. That's and it really stems from, to be honest, the fact that here in the United States, the correct term, you could say the politically correct term is African American if you're here living in the United States. Specifically, if you were a black person who was probably forced against their will during the U.S. slave trade to come here to the United States generations ago, and you're, or one of their descendants or something like that, you know what I mean? Anyway, somebody commented, this goes on, saying, in the picture, those aren't Americans. This is South Africa. Exactly. Exactly. Just because they're a black person doesn't mean they're African American. It's just that here in the United States, those two terms are, synonyms. They're basically the same thing here in the United States, which is sadly what most Americans think of when they think of, I don't know, what exists in the world. It's very sad. And then someone finally comments and says, it doesn't matter where their ancestors are from, you still refer to them as African Americans. This is the American coming back. He really just should have stopped while he was behind. He comes back at the end of the conversation and says, it doesn't matter if they're from South Africa. It doesn't matter if they're living in South Africa right now. You still refer to them as African Americans. That's the right thing to do. No, you idiot! Oh my God, it's so annoying because this American thinks they're right. This American thinks they're being politically correct. And that this American literally thinks every black person in the world, even someone in this photo that they're talking about, who is currently living in South Africa right now, even they are to be referred to as an African American. Very sad. I'm not actually shocked that some Americans think this, because this is so normal and standard here in the United States to use the word African American. Wow, that's cringy. That's bad. Oh my God, that's bad. And the American doesn't even know it. And they're actually telling other people they're wrong about like their racial identity and stuff. Oh my god, it gets worse the more you think about it. Okay, let's keep going here. I'll never use your product unless you celebrate the 4th. This is clearly an American here. I'll never use your product unless you celebrate our Independence Day in America. We're Polish, sir. No kidding. Oh my, why do some Americans think the entire internet is just America, I guess? Or that's what I assume this American is thinking, because obviously no reasonable person, American or not, would assume that people from other countries would celebrate our Independence Day, our holidays in America. Why would any other country around the world give a hoot about that? We don't celebrate anyone else's like national days or independence days from other countries in America. We don't know anything about that stuff. Yet this American says, I'm not using your product, no matter where you are in the world, unless you celebrate, even in Poland, your company better celebrate American 4th of July. This is a great example of Americans thinking that the United States is the only place that exists. I guess I don't know. Let's keep going here. This person says, "Hello, yes, 999. I just ate a very moldy blueberry by mistake. What the heck is this? And I'd like my tongue removed. What the heck is this? 999." And then someone comments saying 999? You mean 911? Oh, like the emergency number. Here in the United States, we call 911 for the police. I'm guessing in other parts of the world, you have a different number you might call. It's not 911 everywhere in the world. So this person responds saying, I think if I ordered an ambulance from America, I'd be a little scuppered since I live in England and it's an awfully long drive from America. So, okay. In England, I guess the emergency police number is 999. This American was like, 999? You mean 911, you idiot. Obviously, 911. 911 is the number in the United States. Every American knows. Not everyone is from America. There's other places. There's other places out there. You should learn about them. They exist, and they have different numbers. Why don't Europeans know about the Super Bowl? What the heck is this? What are we doing? What do Americans get up to on the internet here? Like, what are these questions? Why don't Europeans know about the Super Bowl? I don't know. Why don't we know about football? Like the World Cup. That's bigger than the Super Bowl. Anyway, this American goes on and says, so I've been staying in Europe for about 9 months. It's because my job asked me to. I've been staying in a city called Birmingham in England. They put it in quotes, like Birmingham is like, I don't know, Birmingham? Is this a real place? Why is it in quotes? Like it's a fantasy? Birmingham in England. And I've made some friends. And the guys are really into sports, but mainly soccer, which most of the world calls football. The other day I started talking to him about the Super Bowl, which is of course the American football championship. And he just looked at me confused. I know American football isn't as big here. No kidding. No kidding. But I would have expected a sports guy to have some understanding of what I was talking about. But no? Nothing? I honestly thought everyone knew about the Super Bowl. It's funny because I'm pretty sure here in America we call the Super Bowl of American football the World Championship. That's what we call it, of football. Even though it's literally just in the United States. And I think that's what perpetuates these types of Americans who are... He's actually curious why non-Americans don't know about American sports? Then someone responds saying, why would they? It's a championship for a sport they don't follow, and it's pretty much only played in the United States and Canada. How much do you know about the cricket championships? Exactly. Exactly. There's stuff like in Europe and around the world, like football and cricket, that are more popular than American football. And I think a lot of Americans, like this guy, think that American football and our Super Bowl are the biggest events and sports in the world. And it really just comes from being stuck in our American bubble, our cultural bubble, where a lot of Americans don't get any exposure to what life is like around the rest of the planet. Although this American literally stayed in Europe for 9 months. You'd think this guy would be a little more worldly. He's actually out in Europe for 9 months in Birmingham. And he still doesn't understand? Jeez. Someone said, oh no. Then the American comes back and responds, I mean, cricket is nowhere near as popular as the Super Bowl. No! 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 No, he didn't say that. He didn't. I'm going to pretend he didn't say that. Oh, that's so embarrassing. I'm not sure how close it is, to be fair, like the actual data, but I'm fairly certain cricket is much more popular than American football. And this guy said cricket is nowhere near as popular as the Super Bowl. Wow. Wow. What some Americans are willing to just say so confidently on the internet in posts like this, with such confidence, willing to say bold-faced lies that things just are not true. Let's keep going. This American asks, can a band that is unknown in the United States, but big and successful in the rest of the world, be considered a success? Can a band that is unknown in the United States, but big in the rest of the world, be considered successful? He posted this in a Reddit discussion called "No Stupid Questions." That is a stupidest thing I've ever heard. That is a stupid question. Maybe too stupid for the "No Stupid Questions" discussion. But if a band is successful in everywhere except the United States, that band is bigger than every band that is big in the United States. You know what I mean? The rest of the world is much, much, much bigger than the United States. I don't know why I need to explain this to some Americans. Or even worse, or just as worse, this American thinks, well, if they're not successful in America, does it even count? Which is just the most irritating mindset to have. Like, I don't know, what if the band doesn't perform in English, like a different language? That would be a reason why they're not successful in America, but they can still be very, very, very good and popular in another language. Or there's all sorts of like great bands that just never make it here to the United States for whatever reason, because Americans have like a specific taste or something. But that either way you interpret that, that's extremely stupid and ignorant thing to say. Oh my, a very pompous thing to say, really. Like very cocky is cocky. It's very cocky. Like, if you're not in America, does it even count? Like, geez Louise. Man, stop. Okay. Oh, here we go. Donald Trump says, with all the illegal acts that took place in the Clinton campaign and Obama's administration, there was never a special counsel appointed. Then someone else said, you must be really bad. Then an American responded saying, he is your president. Trump is your president. And this woman says, no, he's not. And another American says, just accept it and move on. And then she says, accept what? He's literally not my president. I'm Swedish. It's like a lot of Americans have like a brain like problem, fog, lock, a brain lock, where they cannot possibly comprehend that on the internet there exist people from faraway lands called the rest of the world. There's other places other than the United States. And Trump is only the president of the United States. What are you talking? Yes, you're talking to a Swedish person on the internet. Are you? They just assumed anyone who's commenting on this stuff is American. I don't know why Americans assume that so much. That's kind of like one of the best things about the internet, right? Is that it's everybody in the world connected. The World Wide Web, it's in the name. Drake, what is this? Drake makes music for people who follow the billionaire mindset accounts on here. And then this American said, "You tweeted this at 5 o'clock in the morning. Drake certainly has a hold over you." And this woman says, "I'm in the UK." So it's not 5 a.m., I'm assuming. This American says, 5 a.m. is 5 a.m. Don't embarrass yourself any further. Drake lives rent-free in your mind. What the heck? What are you doing? Stop. Whoa. Dude, calm down. 5 a.m. is 5 a.m. Don't embarrass yourself. That's it's so annoying because it's typically in these, it's always the American embarrassing themselves. They just don't know it. And to this day, they probably don't know how stupid they are. Except that unless they happen to see this video and we're calling them out. That'd be kind of funny. But 5 a.m. is 5 a.m. No, that's literally wrong. 5 a.m. is very different depending on where you are in the world. Your physical position in the world, it changes. Because the position of the sun changes. Okay. But, do we have one more here? Before I get too angry. I put my oven on 25 degrees and baked this potato for 4 days. Oh my God. An American responds, "Can we please normalize talking about temperature in Fahrenheit? It's far better for these kinds of things." Then someone responds, "No, it's not. Fahrenheit, it's literally not better for anything." You tell them, ain't that the truth? America is like one of the only places that even uses Fahrenheit. 25 degrees, Celsius, like as an American, I don't have a great like reference for what that is. But if you're cooking a potato and you say 25, it's like I was like, oh, that must be Celsius, 25 degrees. That'd be very cold in Fahrenheit. Anyway, the idea that this American is going on the internet like, can we talk in Fahrenheit, the correct units? Like, stop. For one thing, most people use Celsius. And for another thing, Fahrenheit sucks. The metric system is way better. It makes so much more sense. Americans even learn about the metric system in science class. In science class and health professions, we only use metric because that's the correct scientific, logical measurement system. And this American's ranting on the internet about Fahrenheit. Like the rest of the world choose Fahrenheit. He probably thinks most people use Fahrenheit, which is wrong. Okay, I think we gotta stop right there. That's it. We made it to the end. I didn't blow a blood vessel in my head. I tell you, it's kind of like, makes you a little mad reading these, but it is very entertaining at the same time to see, just proof that Americans really don't understand how the rest of the world works. It's true, sadly. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these proofs and posts that we looked at here today. That'd be fun to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.